From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Positively Kansas.
It's time for Positively Kansas. Coming up, the countdown is on to launch a Kansas-based mission into space. The aim is to help solve one of the great mysteries of the universe. Also, we'll take a walk with wildlife and explore the fascination that Kansans have for the great outdoors. And the Kansas sky is a canvas of many shapes and colors. Mike Blair captures its beauty on film and in song in this week's Kansas Wild Edge Report. I'm Sierra Scott. A half hour of information and inspiration starts right now on Positively Kansas. Wichita State University is aiming for the stars, literally. A team of professors and students is preparing to launch a small spacecraft. Their mission? To unlock secrets buried deep inside the sun. Chris Frank shows us how this cutting-edge project could redefine what's possible.
A team of WSU scientists and students hopes to probe the mysteries of the sun by one day sending a spacecraft to its front door. That mission could be years away, but in the meantime, the scientists hope to break new ground by doing something that's never been done before: studying and measuring by detecting what are called neutrinos in space.
So we're in the process of building and about to launch a CubeSat that has a test detector for a new way to measure solar neutrinos close to the sun.
Solar neutrinos are tiny particles created by the sun during the same nuclear reactions that give us sunlight and heat. Solar neutrinos travel through space and even through our bodies without us ever noticing. Scientists study them because they carry clues about what's happening deep inside the sun where we can't see.
Wichita State has never developed or launched a CubeSat before, so this is our first attempt at that.
Getting a closer look at the CubeSat meant putting on a clean suit, standard procedure in a high-tech lab like this.
Come in through here.
This is a clean tent to protect the sensitive equipment from dust.
So this is where the magic happens with our CubeSat. This right here is a clean cabinet. It provides a continuous flow of air in. It's got a nice filter up there to keep dust out.
This is what's being protected from even the tiniest speck of dust. It's called a CubeSat, short for Cube Satellite. Those are small solar panels you see that will power the components inside once the CubeSat is in orbit around the Earth.
This is a professionally made CubeSat from a company called Nanoavionics. It's produced more successful CubeSat missions than any other company. They only make CubeSats. They don't make other spacecraft.
The physics professor says this CubeSat is scheduled to be launched on Transporter 16, operated by SpaceX, in February or March of 2026.
It gets sprung out into orbit as soon as they release it. And then as soon as it gets released, its antennas unfold, its solar panels pop out, the kill switch is no longer depressed, so it activates itself, and it starts charging its batteries with the sunlight up there, and it can orient itself with the magnetic field aviation cards.
This is called the New Sol mission. So you have seen the CubeSat in the clean room. Here, WSU physics professor Holger Mayer gives us a better view of the spacecraft's size.
This is actually full size of the actual thing, and tiny spacecrafts are called CubeSats. Ours is 3U CubeSat, so it's 10 by 10 by 30 centimeters, or 4 by 4 inches by a foot long, about the size of a loaf of bread.
The CubeSat is small, but its mission is huge, measuring solar neutrinos, some of the rarest particles in the universe. Researching solar neutrinos isn't new, but traditionally it's done from large underground facilities like at Japan's Super Kamiokande, buried beneath a mountain to shield background radiation.
Someone says a solar neutrino detector. The first thing that comes to mind is a very massive detector that's super big, buried deep underground. So how are you going to do solar neutrinos with a tiny little detector?
Dr. Salome says you don't necessarily need a giant detector if you go closer to the source, the sun.
If you could go to 3 solar radii where the NASA hopes to be able to go someday, then you're 10,000 times bigger.
Our detector is actually looking for radioactive particles and other energetic particles.
Team members plan on communicating with the CubeSat in space twice daily, getting daily data downloads.
And now, the simplest thing I will ever do to the satellite is ask it, is the power system on and what is its reply? So I ping it, and within 1 millisecond, it has replied saying I'm on and it is okay and is waiting for their commands.
We have high hopes it'll work very well as soon as it's launched, as soon as we get into space.
Salome says this is a work across several campus departments.
So it's quite a cooperation across College of Engineering with the Liberal Arts and Science Physics Division. It's quite a nice broad cooperation.
This is a big deal to Wichita State.
So far, this project has brought to Wichita State about $3.92 million since 2017. And it's produced a lot of master's students, PhD students, a lot of experience for various undergraduates. A lot of them have gone off to some very good schools.
NASA gave the WSU Physics Department 12 engineers for 4 weeks to help this team come up with a realistic budget.
And their claim was, at the end of this study, was that a 5-year mission, including a launch, would cost about $326 million. And I said, wow, that's a lot of money. And my NASA colleagues said, is that all? It's because it's actually considered a small Explorer spacecraft as long as you're less than $350 million.
Salome says if this project proves successful, it could lead to WSU departments doing more space research.
If we could achieve this and we demonstrate that things work and the noise in the backgrounds are very low, the hope is that we could actually build the spacecraft to go close to the sun here on Wichita State University campus with NIAR to build the spacecraft that would then go within 7 solar radii of the sun.
To better understand that, Salome says Earth is 215 radii from the sun. And with the future WSU-built spacecraft, they hope to get within 7 radii of the sun. That would be like parking in the sun's front yard.
If this demonstrator works, we will then be asking the next step for a small Explorer spacecraft to do something that has never been done in space.
Scientists study solar neutrinos to better understand how the sun works and to test their theories about physics and the universe.
Wichita State has never developed or launched a CubeSat before, so this is our first attempt at that. The fact that we're involving aerospace engineers and as well as electrical engineers as well as physics, I think that brings us together as a university team.
If successful, this tiny satellite could open the door to big discoveries and perhaps put Wichita State on the map in the world of space science. For Positively Kansas, this is Chris Frank reporting.
It's a first for Wichita State, and hopefully the mission provides more clues about what's happening deep inside the sun. Now to some science that affects our everyday lives. Turns out the road to a greener future may not be electric vehicles. Chris Frank shows us how a classic car with a modern twist of hybrid tech could change the way we think about vehicle efficiency.
The annual Cars for Charities Rod and Custom Car Show in downtown Wichita showcases a wide range of custom cars. This is the event to attend if you are an avid motorhead who loves to see how a vehicle can be customized into an owner's dream car. Here, you can see the very old, even more than a century old, to late model cars and everything in between. Now, one wouldn't associate high fuel mileage with most of these cars. Many were built for speed, not efficiency or low emissions. But the owner of this classic 1957 Pontiac Chieftain says drivers can have it all: power, higher mileage, and lower emissions. Jonathan Goodwin is showing off what he calls a bolt-on hybrid kit for existing vehicles. He says it can decrease fuel emissions and increase fuel economy while also boosting engine power.
It's only a stopgap solution for existing technology, and that's really the thing. I mean, everybody's trying to push to go electric, right? And I don't think it makes sense. And, and anything that you get, a big transition, from a 100-year-old technology like a ICE engine or a compression ignition, diesel, there's got to be that acclimation, and that's all that this is. It's just a stopgap solution for existing technology.
Jonathan Goodwin is also known as Johnny Magic in his online videos. Wigged up Goodwin likes to have fun showing off what his tuned-up Humvee will do,
Johnny Magic here at the...
or how well the Pontiac with the e-charger kit performs. But at the Rod and Custom Show, heads turn at the sight of this old Pontiac, and questions are raised what it's all about.
It's cool. I love it. That's neat. A lot of work.
People are curious, aren't they?
Absolutely. I'm always curious too what they're going to say, or what how that they look at it, and a lot of people, they glance at it and they're like, and then they'll walk around and they come back. I mean, they're very curious about what's going on and why that this is with that. And once you start explaining it to them in a way of simplicity, like this is a bolt-on hybrid kit, then they start getting it, and
Goodwin says much of the technology he uses, like the supercharger, has been around several decades. Many of the hot rod cars at this show have superchargers. Goodwin says the car's efficiency is government certified.
This whole system's been EPA certified in Diamond Bar, California. I mean, they set the emission standards for CARB. So yeah, it's had all the certification. And
it's a given that the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has pushed for lower emissions for decades. Goodwin says his conversion system does just that.
This reduced emissions by 46%. So think about that. I mean, if everybody had an e-charger on their vehicle, that had a gas or diesel engine, we could reduce emissions by 47%. I mean, what could be better than that? I mean, you got people over here wanting to go full electric. You got people over here, drill baby drill. I'm like, let's do it all, but let's have that stopgap solution for existing technology, for that acclimation, and the e-charger system is the perfect fit for it.
Goodwin says this car got about 55 miles to the gallon driving from Kansas to Las Vegas. He says a typical motorhead person has difficulty believing that.
I try to explain that to a motorhead. They'd be like, no, that's impossible. No, it's possible. It happens every day with electric.
He says the motor recharges the batteries through regenerative braking when going downhill. And as he demonstrates, those batteries are between the back seat and the trunk.
We have our 5 kilowatt lithium-ion phosphate battery pack.
Goodwin says this kit is unique.
Yeah, this is actually the only bolt-on hybrid kit that exists today.
The car's hood won't fit with the supercharger, but that works to what he wants to do by displaying the engine to others.
Actually, the car doesn't have a hood, and there was a reason for it. It's because everybody wants to well, what is that? So this is our canvas to be able to showcase that technology.
Goodwin says he would like to manufacture the bolt-on kits for other cars. After all, one size doesn't fit all, he says.
Over the last few years, I've had tons of opportunities of people that obviously would like to have the technology.
He thinks Wichita is a great spot to do that.
So it's more of a micro manufacturing because obviously there's already electric motor manufacturers out there. So they would supply the electric motor to us. However, then we have to turn around and make the bracket associated with that electric motor to be able to bolt it onto the vehicle. And every vehicle is unique, so this is different than a Ford would be and a Dodge would be and stuff like that. So those type of manufacturing skills actually Wichita possesses the most. I mean, aircraft capital of the world, right? I mean, everybody's
metal.
Yeah, everybody's got a CNC machine and everybody can run one. So it's a simple manufacturing process.
He says a bolt-on kit can be installed in smaller vehicles also. Goodwin says he put this technology on a Volkswagen diesel.
You think about it, the larger the vehicle, the larger the battery pack. The smaller the vehicle, the smaller the pack. And that's because you don't need as much energy to be able to, get the end result, which is better fuel economy and lower emissions.
So this classic car gets a modern twist. Perhaps hybrid tech can save gas-powered vehicles by making them cleaner and more efficient. This is Chris Frank for Positively Kansas.
Kansas already plays a major role in hybrid and electric vehicles. The new Panasonic battery plant in DeSoto that manufactures lithium-ion batteries for those vehicles recently began operations. Well, it's not every day that you come face to face with a vulture, a turtle, or even a skunk. But one annual event in Wichita makes that possible. The Great Plains Nature Center hosts a popular Walk with Wildlife event, inviting Kansans of all ages to explore nature in a hands-on way. Chris Frank takes us on the trail.
It's a wild walk like no other, right in the heart of Wichita.
They're adorable. They're so cute. Even the deer.
On a June Saturday, more than 700 curious kids and adults come together for an up-close encounter with local wildlife at the Great Plains Nature Center.
This is just a really fun, unique event to come out and interact with animals on the trail. Oftentimes we don't get to see them this closely, so it's just really fun to see all ages, all abilities come out here and do this.
Urban settings, our city life, often conceal much of the wildlife that would normally be around us. But here, animals and insects are openly displayed for all to see, and in some cases, even handle.
You want to hold it? So this is a pond slider.
There are so many different people that come out here. There are people who know all about wildlife. There are people that have never been around it before. And that's what we serve as here, as just kind of a resource for people who know a lot about it already and want to explore even more, and those who really want to get into it.
Great Plains Nature Center is celebrating 25 years of connecting area communities with the wildlife all around them. The center's work includes taking their programs to schools, churches, and civic groups.
We have served the community in over 40,000 different outreach opportunities, and also field trips here in the Nature Center, giving programs throughout the year. Thousands of kids and adults alike learning so many different things about our wildlife right here in Kansas. It's really incredible.
So this is Chuck, the turkey vulture. He lives at the Kansas Wildlife Exhibit in Riverside Park. And his full name is Upchuck. Now, that means to throw up.
Indoors, visitors are learning about some of the larger birds seen overhead in Kansas.
Turkey vultures aren't portrayed very well, like in cartoons and movies.
Volkman says turkey vultures are easily misunderstood. They don't hunt the living, but instead feed on the dead, helping to keep nature clean.
But turkey vultures are very important because they filter out a lot of scary things in nature. They eat diseases and pathogens, and they themselves are fine, whereas if other animals eat that, they might become a vector for it, for other wildlife or even for people. Through his beak, even the structure of his beak is made to get a whiff of what's out there. His nostrils are at the back of that, so Chuck finds food by smelling something that's decomposing. They're not killers, so they just use their nose to find something that's already dead. They're not even designed to kill anything.
I think it's important. My 4-year-old loves this stuff and it's up close and personal, and we don't get to see this at our house, and it's just a great way for him to actually experience these creatures.
What's this guy in the back?
Displays of insects and spiders let everyone see them up close without having to handle them.
There's no shortage of interesting questions from little people.
The kids can get up close to critters they would normally run from, like a baby skunk. Kyla Beavers of Beaver's Den Wildlife Rehab in Udall is confident the baby skunk won't let out a stink.
It doesn't, but it could. They can spray immediately, but they came in with their eyes closed, so they have no reason to fear me or spray me because I am food. I mean that they're going to get milk.
Though this event is at the Great Plains Nature Center, It is a collaboration amongst several groups. Nature centers from across the state, animal rehabilitators, Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, and others help make this happen.
And it's just an opportunity for us to have lots of native Kansas wildlife in one place that you can come and see it in one spot and have a nice walk around the trails.
The goal is for visitors to leave not just entertained, but inspired to protect what they've seen.
Let's keep this around. Let's keep wildlife and nature around. I hope that they come out with some sort of love and appreciation for nature and wildlife, and then that turns into what kind of conservation steps can I take as an individual moving forward.
The children's faces light up to see animals up close they may only see in storybooks otherwise.
I enjoyed the deer and the fox the most. I enjoyed the little baby raccoons and skunks. They were so cute.
They're making memories to last a lifetime and already looking forward to the next Walk with Wildlife. This is Chris Frank for Positively Kansas.
If you'd like to get closer to nature, you can check out the Great Plains Nature Center's website for year-round events. Kansas is known for its beautiful skies, especially sunrises and sunsets. In this week's Kansas Wild Edge Report, you'll see some amazing skyscapes featuring an original song by video journalist Mike Blair.
God, the great creator, is the artist of the skies. My old house is nothing special, standing out there on the land. No chandeliers, no works of art, sketched by Rembrandt's hand. But in the dusty hayfields, right before my gallery is waiting when my artist paints the skies. Well, I don't get to town much, there's too much work to do. My walls are bare and dusty with no hanging art to view. And culture doesn't make my list when I stop for supplies, but I still see the wonder when my artist paints the skies. I see it in the clouds when rainbows sweep the land, a golden taste of heaven by the strokes of God's own hand. Where the eagle flies, yes, pictures swirl around me when my artist paints the skies. I see it in the clouds when rainbows sweep the land, a golden taste of heaven by the strokes of God's own hand. A living, breathing canvas is where the eagle flies. Yes, pictures swirl around me when my artist paints the skies. but the great creator is the artist of the skies.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. Now that federal funding has been taken away and our PBS Kansas budget dramatically cut, we need to decide which programs to keep and which to cancel. If you'd like to see Positively Kansas remain on the air, you can go to kpts.org and make a $100 donation to help keep this show funded. As a thank you, your name will appear in the closing credits each week as a valued supporter, and thank you for your support. I'm Sierra Scott. See you next time.